with the age of 12, I relieved myself through that with the internal power that I gained or still had. But the most important one, so when I was for me, it was a very dangerous situation. Even though it might have not looked for other people like that, but it was. And so I really gave up. I remember that opens kind of a gate. That's how it felt to me.
Yeah.
And I had this energy coming through. It's like time stopped, like in Matrix, when they go for the bullets, right?
Yeah.
I do think that our upbringing is very relevant where we have been growing up, because it will set the path, our journey, if you want to say so, through how we have been raised, how we have been exposed through our family history to habits and so on. So I'm coming from the East German side, so from East Germany. I've been raised and grown up there. And I do think that has a lot to do with liking the Chinese tradition a lot, because it seems to be very similar in many ways. So I can relate to it quite often, so. And, mainly I grew up in, my grandmother has been experiencing 2 wars. My parents have been growing up right after the war. And so I'm influenced by all that, so as a East German history, it's definitely a little bit different than the Western side. So it's more relative to the Chinese tradition. So I think so. So it's a little bit more, natural. Because of then later on in life, like 5, 6, I went through really traumatic situations in my life that set me then into the struggle part.
Yeah.
And so I have been coming from an abusive background in the ways that people can imagine, so, but not going into that at the moment so much. It's more important that even though it took me a couple of years, what happened then with the age of 12, I relieved myself through that with the internal power that I gained or still had. But the most important one was with 17, I think, so when I was for me, it was a very dangerous situation. Even though it might have not looked for other people like that, but it was. And so I really gave up. I remember that was my last thought. I gave up on life, so it was my last thought. And in this moment, there was that, unexplainable experience that I had, where I really feel that when we're in alignment with all the states of our emotions, mental, physical, spirit, all together, that opens kind of a gate. That's how it felt to me.
Yeah.
And I had this energy coming through. It's like time stopped, like in Matrix, when they go for the bullets, right?
Yeah.
It's exactly that, right? So I was like, oh, how did they know, right? When I saw this movie, that was so funny. So, that was the one that set me on the path. That was the one where, I could not, forget about this. So now I was searching the rest of my then life, for what happened. How do I get back? Because this is undescribable when you have an experience like that. You are in full power. You are in full power, right? Just for a split of a second, if you want to say it, probably a couple of seconds, but not longer, It gave me the doorway to say there's more. And that in the bottom of my heart has always kept me And that was, I determined everything in my life afterwards, as good as I could, right?
Yeah.
Is that helping me towards to find out what happened or not? So I love beginners, you know. I love that field, right? So beginners, they are usually very advanced, don't know it yet. So I want to pull this out, right? So when I was beginning, I did not know. You can't explain it. There's no way. So, but when you know there's a system that will hold you to grow into your skin, if you want to say so, are you more likely to say, oh, okay, if you know there's a community that will hold you in this process, and it's a growing community, so it means there are other people in it, they are not more convinced that it's working, they know it's working, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, if something doesn't work, you know, people drop out, usually, right? But if it works and it grows, I would pay attention to that, you know. And it's common sense, you know. So you go with common sense and say, well, and then you give yourself permission for a period of time to do something without thinking. You think it through before, you know. So, and that's what I love on the whole structure that the Grandmaster Pangming gave. He gave all this space that people with different abilities, you know, everyone is on different levels of when they come in, so they can explore what am I able to do, what I'm not able, where I have to train more. And so there's always someone who will help the process that's needed. I just can really encourage everyone to, at least when they have a feeling that is working, it could work, then give themselves a permission. I mean, a minimum, I would say 30 days.